Welcome to the Prop Queen Pod. I'm the Prop Queen Ariel Epstein. Thanks everyone for tuning in. It was a long weekend, Memorial Day weekend. I hope you all enjoyed it. Today is actually a really important day to me, outside of the fact that it was just Memorial Day weekend. And of course, I hope that everybody knows what that weekend's all about, which is obviously to honor those who have served our country. I am a huge patriot, absolutely obsessed with America. If you don't know me and how Kelly in Vegas and I met, it's because we mutually love America. Anyway, it's a big day in sports. Do I have any aloe? Yeah, so that was also yesterday's problem. Thank you, Nick, for pointing that out. I'm sunburnt again. No, I'm not getting married. Why am I getting married? No, that's not why today's a big day for me. But yes, I am very sunburnt. Makeup's an amazing thing, but you could see this is horrible. I always forget about how strong the sun is and how weak my skin is. So no, I don't have aloe. The reason today's a big day, actually, first I'm going to tell you, we have two guests on the show today. Coach James Young is going to talk NBA and WNBA with us. We also are going to talk to my good friend Carmine from over at Wager Talk. We're going to talk Stanley Cup playoffs, NBA action, NHL action, WNBA action, Major League Baseball action. We have it all covered for you right here on the Prop Queen Pod. At least I'm not hungover today. If you tuned in on Saturday, I was hungover. It was bad thanks to the Knicks losing on Friday. They didn't play yesterday, so I come into today feeling great. Knicks tonight. But today's a big day because it's my dad's birthday. So if anybody sees my dad, you just tell him happy birthday today. He's awesome, even though we don't get along in baseball season. He absolutely hates the Yankees, as you could tell. He's a diehard Orioles fan. I'll give it to him because he is also just he's a Baltimore fan. I am confused. I love the Ravens. I love the Yankees. I took sides, one for each family member. Mom's side of the family's Yankees, dad's side of the family's Baltimore, so I went to the Ravens for football. That is why I am a Yankees and a Ravens fan, because my dad is from Baltimore. So I took his team once, like for one side. That's the Ravens. So happy birthday, Dad. I hope you have a great day. I was with him all weekend, and we spent the entire day by the pool yesterday, which is exactly why I am extremely sunburned. But it's turning into a tan, which is good. I usually am just sunburnt, and then it turns to white. That wasn't the only weird thing that happened to me yesterday. Did you guys see this with the baseball game? The Athletics and Phillies. Mark Kotsay, the manager of the Athletics, gets tossed from the game. When you get tossed, you have to legitimately walk of shame out of Sacramento. I don't know if you guys know this, and Cliff Floyd was one of the first guests we had on the Prop Queen Pod to start the baseball season. He said the thing that sucks the most about playing out in that minor league ballpark in Sacramento is that your clubhouse is in the outfield. The players every day have to walk all the way towards home plate from the clubhouse, and this is exactly what they have to do if they get tossed from the game. This is a horrible walk of shame. Like, let them just leave the building. We're walk of shaming down the left field line. Everyone just gets to watch you. This is like, I wish I took a snapshot. If you guys didn't watch Game of Thrones, you won't get it. It's like in Game of Thrones where they're going, shame, shame, shame. You don't deserve that if you're a manager that gets tossed. If you're a manager that gets tossed, it shouldn't be a walk of shame. It is. Good job, manager. Great job, coach. We love you getting tossed. You know who else got tossed? Tyrese Haliburton's dad. He's back tonight. You guys know that he got banned by the Pacers after his altercation with Giannis Antetokounmpo. After that, on April 29th, he is eligible, John Haliburton, to return, but he has to sit in a suite. Not allowed on the floor. He could sit in a suite tonight at the Knicks-Pacers game in Indiana. I saw some people saying that they're going to bet the Pacers because he's allowed back in the building. You guys all talk about how bad it is for the Knicks that they were beating up Pacers fans outside MSG, but is it bad karma to allow John Haliburton back in the building for beating up on Giannis Antetokounmpo? Just saying, we might be even here on the choke. Sean says, that's BS. If a fan did that, he'd be banned for life, arrested, and fired from his job. Yeah. But I guess when it's your son who's the point guard of the team, maybe you don't deem him as much of a threat as some rando. I mean, like, come on. Anyway. Oh, Sean said the fan that Knicks beat up in the sweep. Put the fan. Yeah, you can put those two together, and then we could all bet on who's going to come out of that suite alive. At least you didn't get sun poisoning. I thought I did last night. I stood in front of my air conditioner like this because it was burning. Okay, a few other things. So in the NBA last night, SGA, look at this payout. 40 or more for SGA was 12-1. For a live bet. It was a live bet. $100 this person put on. Made $1,300 on an SGA 40 or more live bet. I'm watching all these big payouts on these live betting player props. As much as the CPO of DraftKings told me that they feel they have the edge on the live prop market, I think that we have a little bit of an edge on this live prop market. 40 or more at 12-1 for SGA. That is insane. SGA ends up putting up 40 on the dot. So good job to whoever did that. I know that social media was absolutely destroying Julius Randle and Anthony Edwards. I think we were a little too quick to call Anthony Edwards the next LeBron James. Julius Randle, we have to appreciate. We rode that streak from game 2 of the Warriors series to about 2 games ago when we faded him. Remember that back-to-back where everyone was on Naismith and then everyone was also on Randle, and we bet that under because everyone started betting Randle? Once people catch on to the trend, it's dead. Julius Randle, dead. No more. I'm excited because our next guest is going to talk about how we should approach that Thunder and T-Wolves series now that OKC's up 3-1. Like, how do teams down 3-1 come into the series? Everyone's making fun of me for being burnt. I told you, I am openly sunburnt. I admit it. I screwed up. I went to Aruba a month ago. I thought that I had a base. So I decided that I was good enough to go out with no sunscreen yesterday in my parents' backyard, listening to music with my dad and my sister, and we were having a grand old time. It didn't even feel that hot out. I'm burnt. And I'm not burnt on my face because of makeup, but it's burnt. Oh, the forehead, burnt. Anyway. Let's talk about some basketball. Coming up on the show now, my good friend from over at Sports Grid, college basketball coach, specializes in women's basketball, which we're going to get to because there is a big missing piece to the WNBA. Mr. Coach James Young. What's up, Coach?
Listen, Ariel, I'm good now. Check in with me about 10:30 tonight and see if Knicks can pull it out.
No, I will not be checking in on you. I have no interest to check on you. I don't want to text you. My friend Rachel, diehard Knicks fan, after game 1, this girl disappeared. I had to ask her parents if she was alive. Yeah. Like, I thought she was going to jump, and she lives on the top. She lives at the top. I was worried for her, and I'm worried for all of you big diehard Knicks fans because this is huge tonight, Coach. I mean, you're down 2-1. You're on the floor in Indiana. I had a feeling the Knicks were going to win game 3 just because that's so their style to go 0-2 in front of their home crowd, come and win in game 3 in front of the Indiana crowd because the pressure's off. You could play a little more loose. Where I am annoyed as a bettor, now that Thibodeau has changed around the rotations by putting Mitchell Robinson in to start and Cat almost didn't play a fourth quarter and now Josh Hart's coming off the bench. How do we handicap this team?
Well, it's insanely hard, and we don't know we're going to get out of the Knicks because Tibbs kind of fell into that spot, right? It wasn't something where, he was like, oh, I have to do this. The only thing he fell into is the fact of Josh Hart basically saying, hey, start Mitchell Robinson, which if anybody really thought about the trade for Cat, it was supposed to be Brunson, Bridges, OG, Cat, and then Mitch, because obviously, Cat had experience playing with another big like Rudy Gobert. So now you get Brunson and Cat, which now I think if you're looking at this, the Knicks are better served if they kind of split. Not only they split their minutes, but like divide them in half. Like don't play them as much together because Cat, when he gets into his bag like he did in the fourth quarter, it becomes incredibly tough to stop. So the thing is I'm not going with Brunson because the props are like 30.5, it's absurd. I'm not going with Cat, even though I thought about it.
I feel like everyone's talking about Cat because he's destroyed the Pacers. At this point, we've got to go find something else.
And that someone else is OG Anunoby. OG Anunoby over 15.5 points, Ariel. 4 straight games that OG has gone over this prop. 6 out of 8 versus the Pacers. Remember, one of the 2 games he missed against the Pacers in the playoffs was that Game 7 in New York where he had the badly pulled hamstring, gutted it out, gave you 2 quick threes, but he was done for the day. When you think about this series, you think about what you've heard out of Indiana. There's been a lot of talk in the last 24 to 36 hours of we slowed up. We play too slow. I think they want to ramp it up. So I think the Knicks are going to keep up the pace. Over 109.5, 106 last game. Brunson 4 fouls in the first half. Cat 3 fouls in the first half. Both of them in major foul trouble, right? I think Indiana pushes the pace. Knicks are much better tonight offensively. Give me over 109.5. And then TJ McConnell, if you think about that little gnat that fucking pisses me off to watch him play against the Knicks, 8.5 points. Because when you think about all 3 games of this series, Ariel, gone over, right? 8 out of the last 10 playoff games, TJ McConnell goes over. Him and Brunson have a little, they got respect, but a little rivalry. And when he sees Brunson, he attacks. But not to create, but for himself. Give me TJ McConnell over 8.5 points.
You were on Sports Grid the other day. You were talking about Jalen Brunson. Talking about how saying he's at one of the best Knicks in history is kind of rude to the best Knicks in history. Why are you not sold on Brunson?
It's too soon. And it's because of the fact that the Knicks are for the first time relevant in 25 years. I mean, let's be honest. They had the 1 year with Carmelo and Amari and Woody where they were really good. When 50-some-odd games, they got bounced out in the second round. But before that, when were the Knicks actually good? Or since Ewing left. So I think a lot of this is young social media. This is like how you get all that whole GOAT debate, right? It's everyone's so nearsighted. I'm going to take you back. I'm almost 49 years old. Patrick Ewing is the greatest Knick of all time. Let's shut that shit down right now. Okay? 15 years, that team from 89-90 to when he left was a perennial title contender year after year after year after year. So Brunson can't take him because he hasn't even taken his team to the finals yet, right? Then you go to 2. Walt Clyde Frazier. Everybody talks about Clyde as, the swishing and dishing, styling, profiling. Yeah, go look at the videotape. I'll just give you one game. 1970 NBA Finals, Game 7 versus Jerry West, and he fucking torched them for 36 and 19 assists in a deciding game. And then if you want to go third, then you go to the captain. Willis Reed, 1970 MVP, 2-time NBA champion, Hall of Famer. So Brunson at the very best is 4th. And we haven't talked about Carmelo Anthony. We haven't talked about someone like Bernard King, who I think if he didn't get hurt, probably could have been the greatest Knick of all time because he could score on anybody. We haven't talked about Earl the Pearl. We haven't talked about Bill Bradley. We haven't talked about a ton of players. So don't give me this Brunson shit that he's number 1. Because I'll tell you right now, I know they came back and won Game 3, but no way in hell Patrick Ewing is down 0-2 and down 20 points in the second quarter of a Game 3.
It's also alarming when I look at Brunson's numbers, and I'm going to talk about this again later on in the show. I looked at Brunson against the Pacers. In home games, he's averaging 30 points a game in the last 2 years. On the road, he drops to 23 points a game against Indiana. So is Jalen Brunson okay, great, you're awesome at the Garden. I can't trust Jalen Brunson props when he's away from MSG.
It's just, Ariel, it's so highly inflated, right?
Right.
When you really dig into this, right? Indiana, because of the way that Rick Carlisle has coached, and let's give Rick Carlisle his props. This guy is one of the best coaches of this generation and never gets considered. You talk about Doc and Ime and Budenholzer and Kerr and all these guys, Mazzulla, Spoelstra. You never talk about how great Rick Carlisle's been, right? So when you think about it, he has Naismith. Now, Naismith is hurt, so we have to look out for that tonight because that's a primary ball handler. Also, if Naismith is hurt, watch Jalen Brunson try to go to his right because that affects the push off in regards to Naismith's right angle in regards to kind of shift and move quickly. So watch that early, see if Brunson tries to attack him on his right like he did towards the end of the game. But it's Naismith, there's Nembhard, there's McConnell. They just keep running guys at Brunson. If there's a guy between Cat and Brunson that goes over his points prop, it's Cat. Folks, Cat averaged 30.3 in the regular season. And if Cat ever decides to go to the low post, Miles Turner, Pascal Siakam, whoever else, they don't want none of that damn smoke.
So you like Cat?
If I had to go either or, you give me a choice, I'm going Cat with 22.5. Yep, 22.5 if I have a choice.
Before we go to the WNBA, the chat wants to know which drink or blunt you would prefer.
Oh my God. I heard someone say it before. Listen, I'm a bourbon guy. I like an old fashioned.
I see that. You're classy.
Give me a nice bourbon neat at the end of the night. That's my go-to.
Is that what you're gonna watch the Knicks game with tonight?
Yeah, well, yes. And here's the thing, Ariel. Depending on how bad the Knicks are playing, will be how early the bourbon will be starting. If it's shitty, it may be first quarter. If they're up comfortably, it'll be like my Red Auerbach.
Right, it's either a painful drink or a celebratory drink.
Right, exactly.
I get that.
As for the blunt stuff, that's back in the '90s, back in the day when I was in college. I'm a little
everybody.
Bit more mature now.
Send him some bourbon. That's what he needs. That's what he needs. WNBA, over the weekend, we did have some big news. Huge injury because Caitlin Clark is out for a couple of weeks with a quad injury in her left leg. Supposedly, the ticket prices for her and Angel Reese's rematch went down from $86 to $25 after Clark's injury announcement. What does this mean for the gambling space that Caitlin Clark is out for the next couple of weeks?
Well, you got to look at other players in regards to Indiana Fever. You're looking at props. Look at someone like Kelsey Mitchell. DeWanna Bonner has been really a disappointment for Indiana so far. They actually put Lexi Hull into the starting lineup, and they gave over to Liberty over the weekend. As for the Chicago Sky, Ariel, it don't fucking matter. Just bet against them. And that's one of my WNBA bets tonight. And that is the Phoenix Mercury minus the 7 points at home versus Chicago Sky. Chicago Sky 0-3 against the spread. They lost all 3 games by double digits. Phoenix is much better than we thought. And remember, folks, they don't even have the walking bucket, Kalia Copper, in the lineup right now. So they should be able to go ahead and get the win in the cover. Now, the first bet, let's be honest. Paige Beckers over 14.5 points. I mean, shit. She's a UConn, like almost, Mount Rushmore. It's her first game in Connecticut, right? She's leading the team in scoring. She's getting 13 points a game. And she's getting 12.5 shots. She's outscoring Arike Nwumawale. Think about that, folks. There's no way in hell they don't force feed this kid the ball. Paige Beckers over 14.5 points. And then Storm Lynx. So 2 really good teams. A lot of offense here. I'm going to go over 157.5. 2 of the top 7 teams in the WNBA in offensive rating. 2 of the top 6 teams in the WNBA and true shooting percentage. Lots of points tonight in Storm versus Lynx.
And you also like the Mercury minus 7?
Yeah, I just think the Sky are fucking bad. I mean, bad. Courtney Vandersloot, leaves, goes back to Chicago. She's playing 30, 35 minutes a night. It's too much. Cardoso is going to be okay. Listen, Angel Reese has problems finishing around the rim. Part of the reason why she can't finish around the rim is they can't fucking shoot. Like they are awful. They are so painful to watch. And people are looking at all these other teams and how bad they are. Honestly, I'll take the Valkyries right now over the Chicago Sky if I had to pick a game.
I'm loving this passion right now. I need to have a drink with you, but my problem is I have wine and you have your bourbon, and I feel like my wine's just gonna make me like.
No, Ariel. With all due respect here, I am a sophisticated brother. I will dabble in a little Sauvignon Blanc, some Oyster Bay. I do love my Camus if I want to have a nice.
I'm gonna get you better than Camus. We've got to elevate your Camus.
Someone suggested that we should do a live stream during a Knicks game. If the Knicks make it to the finals, I am in. I will do a live stream with you as long as Sportskeeda doesn't put me on there, which they probably will. I'll do a live stream with you, and we'll get some nice wine, and then I need a bourbon on the side in case shit goes left
Did you not? Okay, so on Friday night, I went out with my friends to watch the Knicks game. Things escalated after the yell. Like it's like I'm going to drink if they win, drink if they lose kind of thing. Saturday, I had a show at 11, and I purposely said that for Wager Talk, I would do Saturday morning shows from 11 to 11:45, filling in on Last Call for Kelly in Vegas because she doesn't really do baseball. So she's like, just give me the summer off until football season. I said, you know what? If Kelly allows for me to do the show from 11 to 11:45, then that means that I probably won't drink heavily on Friday nights because I have to be ready for Saturday. I was miserable on Saturday during that show. I couldn't even do my hair. It was back in a ponytail.
Ariel, I mean, with all due respect, and I got to leave in a minute because I got to go pick up the little one from swim practice. But shit, you listen. I had to work 10 to noon on Saturday. I didn't drink Friday night because I knew how bad it was going to be. And plus, it's probably just a little bit of bourbon right then and there. But yes, come on, girl. Memorial Day weekend, and you're
it was
in,
too many surf sides. We had 15 combined between 3 girls, which was a lot. Wait, before I let you go, because I know you have to go. Tomorrow we have T-Wolves and OKC potential elimination game. How should people approach the game despite being down 3-1 for Minnesota?
What do you mean potential? This shit's over. I mean, it's over. I said it was going to be Thunder in 5. I think they win by double digits. I think Ant is still trying to figure it out. Julius Randle, the clock struck midnight. He's now a fucking pumpkin. Rudy Gobert, oh my God, one of the worst contracts in the league. And Oklahoma City just has too many dudes. The hard thing about betting Oklahoma City, folks, is you don't know where it's coming from. SGA, Chet, obviously Jalen Williams. Hartenstein can give you double-doubles. And then obviously the biggest thing is that they have Alex Caruso on defense, and he is putting Ant in fucking jail. In jail. This series is over tomorrow night.
Coach James Young, make sure to check him out on all his socials. And I always forget your Twitter handle by heart. It is Coach Young NJ. Coach Young NJ. Like New Jersey, Coach Young NJ. Check him out there. Check him out at Sports Grid and here all the time because his energy is absolutely unmatched. Let's go Knicks. Good luck tonight. Enjoy your bourbon, and I will text you potentially tomorrow to just make sure you're alive.
Please send an ABP out and have all bridges looked out for Coach Young if the Knicks get their ass blown
911 on speed dial for you.
Bye, Ariel. See ya.
You, Coach. So our next guest. See, I messed that up. I knew I was going to mess it up. Our next guest, he hasn't been on the show yet. He's got 5 minutes. I know he's early, but I'll give him the extra few minutes. Our next guest is going to talk some Stanley Cup playoffs, so I will get to that. I think he's ready, though, so maybe I'll bring him on a little. Not if you're ready, Carm. You ready? Okay. So the next guest, I've been dying to bring him on. When the show started a month and a half ago, I said, I'm bringing this guy on. He's going to save my ass in hockey. I don't know anything about this sport aside for I know the logistics of the game, but handicapping it, I said, he's going to save me. And this guy goes to Italy for a month. No, he was there for 2 weeks, but he's sending me pictures every day for breakfast, lunch, and dinner of his food in Italy to me and Kelly. I'm like, dude, you're in timeout. You gotta, all I want is your wine and pasta. I'm sitting here working, launching Prop Queen, and he's perusing around Italy. But it's fine because he came back right in the nick of time for when things get crazy in the NHL. He's from Canada. I call it Canada. He's from Canada. So he knows every little detail about the sport. And we're going to bring him on, my great friend from over at Wager Talk, Carmine. What's up?
How are you? I had to get you back from your birthday trip to Italy where I was getting the pictures from you and Kelly. I thought I had been on the show because you still harbored some ill will from when the Bills beat the Ravens in the playoffs. But we won't mention that, nor will I mention the Bills helmet that's behind me here. But it's all good. You
went there, and I have not my Ravens helmet's there behind me. It doesn't get the spotlight yet. It has to wait until September for the spotlight because now my Yankees take center stage. and we're in basketball season, and we're in hockey season. And what I should have worn today was the great sweatshirt that you gave me. So Carm is awesome, and he hosts shows on Wager Talk. You know his co-host, Andrew McKinnis, who comes on the show with us a lot too. Carm, how has the Stanley Cup playoffs been treating you?
It's good. It's been fun. I was really hot when I was in Italy. Believe it or not, I had some people on the Puck Time show when I returned saying, stay in Italy because your picks, I was doing a daily picks thing, and they were all hitting. So with fewer games now, it's a little tougher. You know what I mean? You look at like last night's game, and obviously,
hey, the Kings
Carolina
survived. My friends in Carolina were
survived.
thrilled that they finally got a win in the Eastern Conference Finals.
First in 16 games. It was 15 straight losses for them in the Eastern Cup, and looking like 4 straight sweeps dating back to 2009. But they got the win. They played well. I hate to say it. I think it's more that Florida just didn't play as well as they normally do. I think they will respond in Carolina for Game 5. But as I say to Andrew each and every day, and anyone who tunes in to watch Puck Time, I would love to see it go 7 games. The more games you get to see, the better it is. When we run out of games, it is then baseball season, and north of the border here, while I'm waiting for NFL, it's football season, but CFL football.
Do you do anything with CFL?
No, I leave that to Andrew. Andrew is absolutely lights out with CFL.
Gabe Morency does a ton of CFL.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
Yeah, Gabe and Cam. I used to run into them all the time at a sports bar here in Toronto when they worked for Sportsnet, and those guys are just absolutely phenomenal guys, and they love their CFL. And I don't think Gabe.
Party. One big party, Carmen. Hold on. Let me get you back here. We do have your stuff for tonight. You've got your card for the Stars-Oilers game, which is at 8:10 p.m. Eastern time. The Oilers, minus 152 on the money line. They've got a total of 6.5 in this game. And you're looking at the first period over. Why?
So a couple of reasons for this one. You look at the numbers as far as I expect some pushback from Dallas, losing 6-1 and getting an embarrassing game in Game 3, and they really didn't play as bad as that final score might dictate. Ottinger didn't play as well as he normally did, but I think his defense kind of let him hang out to dry in that one. But if you look at some of the statistics, the Oilers in 6 home games have gone over the first period total in 5 of them. And while the Stars have played 7 road games and only gone over in 4 of the 7 games, they're 4-3. It's still a profitable angle given the vig that was associated with each one of those games. And you look at the first 3 games that they played in the series and the expected goals, which does tell you a lot about how these teams are playing in the opening 20 minutes. Game 1, 2.51 expected goals. Game 2, 2.21 expected goals. Game 3 had the lowest number, but still at 1.55. So these teams have generated in the opening 20 minutes in 3 games at least just a little over 6 expected goals. And I'm expecting Dallas to come out and at least play better in the opening 20 minutes and try and get that early lead. They're a much better team playing ahead than they are playing from behind. But I will say this, Ariel, is I don't want to take the Dallas Stars in the first period on the money line. It was an option I looked at. They have not led in 7 games after 20 minutes. They have trailed in 5 and been tied after 20 minutes in 2 of those games, while the Oilers have one of the best records after the opening 20 minutes, going 5-1. I think it's 4-1-1 in 6 home games. They've only trailed once in 6 home games. So there's some numbers that support taking Edmonton in the first period, but that line is, as you mentioned, the game line is 150-ish across the board, and the first period numbers plus or minus 145. So there's really no value in taking them in the first period if you think they're going to win the game.
Shawn Michaels said, if you think Edmonton wins, you should take minus 1.5, right? Closeout games feel like they almost always win 2+.
They do. It's I think the only thing that's keeping me off of taking, let's say, the Oilers in regulation, and you really don't have to take them in, let's say, regulation or on the puck line, is that this is one of those games that I expect Dallas to play better. I'm cheering for the Oilers because I'd love to see the Cup come north of the border for the first time since '92 when Andrew McInnes's Montreal Canadiens did it. But we also know that 45% of every team's lineup has Canadians, is made up of Canadians. We just
It
learned about
doesn't
you guys.
count. You have to
It
be
is.
on the team.
Yes, that is true. It is the argument of all arguments. The Olympics and the World Championships are the only ones where it's actually nation versus nation. But a lot of the players, I will say, are Canadians. We loan them out, or they like the tax structure better in the U.S. than they do in Canada, where we're overtaxed. But that's probably a topic for a different day.
That's a topic for Kelly in Vegas. Someone did ask this, though. Do you ever look at who's reffing? I heard the Leafs are 0-9 in the playoffs with Sutherland and 0-15-ish with Wes McCauley.
Yeah, I don't think they're. I do look at the referee matchups at times, but mainly for Toronto, because there are a couple refs, and he's mentioned it, to where Toronto just doesn't play well with these. They absolutely hate Wes McCauley, and you can almost look at it and say it's almost like that rinse and repeat one. It's you just want to take them because the refs are aware of the fact that they read what's on social media, they read what the player or hear what the players are saying, and I think they do take it personally at times. So sometimes you have to look at that. Andrew mentioned today, this series, and if it went 7 games, the Oilers would be in an unfavorable position. That Peter DeBoer, the coach of the Dallas Stars, is like, I think, 8-0 in game 7s. I wouldn't want to. Those are ones that you got to take with a grain of salt because Peter DeBoer isn't on the ice. They came back in game 7 against Colorado, scoring a couple of goals in the final 4 minutes of the game to win that one. He had nothing to do with it. He wasn't on the ice. It was Colorado that bottled that game, gave it up, and lost. So I tend to take the stats that are on the ice instead of behind the bench. It's like Teddy says, sometimes you find a streak, you don't want to get in front of it. Try not to catch a falling knife, as Teddy would say.
Hey, listen, it's what I say too about umpires and in the NFL with refs. Like, there's only so much that you could look at before your brain absolutely explodes. I love that you gave me some props for tonight because you know that we love our props over here. I never really get too many unders for shots on goal when I have hockey guests. Why are we going under?
All right, so here's one that you look at, and I think a lot of people, when they go to books, certain books, and like DK being one of them, it'll show what the person averages thus far in the playoffs. And if you look at Evan Bouchard of the Oilers, it shows that he's averaging 2.8 shots per game. The one thing you have to look at is that number's inflated. He had one game against the LA Kings where he had 9 shots on goal, and that inflated the number. You take away that game, and Evan Bouchard is averaging 1.92 shots per game, and he's gone under. I think in of their 14 games, I think he's gone under in 9 of them. So it is a number, I think, that laying minimal vig on. You don't want to lay anything higher than minus 130 because then the numbers just they just aren't profitable. But at minus 120, minus 125 for under 2.5 shots on goal, I can see that one happening. And again, just expecting some Dallas pushback tonight in this game. Whether they win or not, I don't know. But I don't think Bouchard's going to get over that number tonight.
So with the pushback from Dallas, is that why you're assuming that Stuart Skinner is going to have over 23.5 saves?
Yeah, with Stuart Skinner, it is. This is one of those ones where you just wonder which version of Stuart Skinner is going to show up tonight. The one that allowed 15 goals in his first 3 games of this year's playoffs, or the Stuart Skinner in the next 5 games allowed only 6, 5 of them in one game, and he's got 3 shutouts and a one goal against game as well too. the thing with him is the over shot prop has hit in 23.5 has hit in 3 of his last 4 games. And in that 5th game, it was a 3-0 shutout against the Vegas Golden Knights where they shut down the Vegas Golden Knights, and Vegas only had 23 shots on goal. So I don't know what the number was for that game, but it was likely in that same 22.5 to 23 range, 23.5 range. But 3 of the last 4 games, they're playing well. And but again, it's the same thing. I expect Dallas to get pucks on goal tonight.
And the one that you expect to get that puck on goal is Mikko Rantanen, anytime goal scorer at plus 165. Why is he going to be the one?
Well, he's got 12 in the playoffs, and I get it. He's had a couple games where he's had hat tricks. But as Mikko goes, it seems in the playoffs, as Mikko goes, so do the Dallas Stars. In the games in which they've won, of the 9 games they've won, he's had multiple points in those games, and he's scored in 4 of those 9 wins that they've had. A couple of them, as I mentioned, were hat trick affairs. They're going to have to get him going. He hasn't been going in this series at all. I think he has 1, maybe 2 points in this series, and none of them are goals. They need him to score. He scored career-wise against the Edmonton Oilers, both regular season and playoffs. He's scored in 42% of his games against the Edmonton Oilers. Now, that number doesn't seem very high, but it is when you consider it is a goal being scored and not a point being registered. They really need him tonight. If they get a power play, he's the guy that they're going to key on getting shots on goal as well too. I looked at the shots on goal; it was just unplayable. The numbers are too high. The big is too high. Same with Draisaitl and McDavid. Just to go off on a bit of a tangent with them, the numbers are just too high, and it doesn't support their stats thus far for the playoffs. But Rantanen, if the Stars show up tonight, Rantanen will be a part of it, and he'll score. And at plus 165, it's pizza money.
It's like a home run prop. Anytime goal scorer in hockey is like a home run prop. So to hit that at 42%, in my eyes, is great. And I know that, I'm assuming goals scored by certain players makes more sense, but these anytime touchdown, anytime goal scorers, home run props. How do you handicap an anytime goal scorer when most of the time it's 2-3 goals a game?
It is tough. This is a game in which, I'm not looking to take an anytime goal scorer in any game where the line or the total is at 5 or 5.5. With a total of 6 and 6.5, they just expect some goals to be scored, and they have in this series for the most part. 9 goals in the first game. I think the second game was a 3-0 shutout, but 7 goals in the last game as well too. These are 2 teams that can score, and if Edmonton dictates the pace of the game, then we're likely going to see some scoring. The Stars are going to need some power plays tonight. The only way to get power plays is they have to play a 200-foot game. They have to get into those corners, hope to pick up some power plays and score. That's what they did in that 6-3 victory. They were down 3-1 at the end of 2 periods of play in game 1 and scored 5 goals in the third period. The first 3 on power plays. On their only 3 shots on those 3 power plays, they scored 3 goals. So they're going to need some power plays against this Edmonton Oilers team, create some odd man opportunities. And if they do, that's where you expect the Stars to come out, pun intended.
But I want to guess your Stanley Cup Finals is Edmonton versus Florida.
It seems to be shaping up that way, hopefully with a different result, of course. But this Florida team, absent of yesterday's game, they look like absolute beasts. They just play so well. They roll out 3 and 4 lines, and they play so well. And I expect them. I think they end the series tomorrow night, and it's a very low price on them at a minus 110, minus 115. But you look at the last round, and Toronto came to Florida for Game 6, and looking to stave off elimination, and they beat Florida 2-0, much like what Carolina did yesterday, minimizing Florida's shots on goal, keeping them at bay. And fewer opportunities, fewer goals, they got on top early and they won that game and shut them out. Carolina did. It was almost right from the playbook of what Toronto did. But the very next game, Florida goes up to Toronto and completely spanks them 6-1. And I was so happy for that to happen because I am not a Leafs fan. I live in Toronto. I am flooded with friends who are watching right now, I'm sure, who are Leaf fans, and they're insufferable. The Leaf fans are insufferable. It is just the woe is me, Linus with the cloud over his head from Charlie Brown. I think that's Linus. And it's just each and every year they prepare themselves for another heartbreak, and they got it this time around again. So
How
the Knicks
would
have
you?
not won a cup since 1967. That's all I'm going to say.
No, it's insane that it's been that long, and I really hope for Canada that you guys who are big hockey people, more so than here where hockey's like the fourth or fifth sport in this country, you guys do deserve it. Now, before I let you go, since there's not really much value in the futures market because the Panthers are plus 105, Edmonton's plus 145, if that's what you think that the finals are going to be, all the value sucked out. Conn Smythe could be where it's at, Carm. Who are you looking at for Conn Smythe?
I have to believe if you like the Florida, if you think Florida is going to win the cup, I think you take. And I don't have his odds with me, but I think you take Bobrovsky because he has played lights out for them even when they lose. He allows one goal. The final score was 3-0 yesterday, but two of those were into empty nets. He allowed one goal in that game. He's been playing lights out. He's just such a tough goalie to beat. And we don't normally see a lot of goalies win the Conn Smythe. Last year, I had a fairly good-sized bet on Connor McDavid last year, and I knew that even if they lost the Stanley Cup Finals to Florida, he was going to win it because he was on a tremendous scoring pace in the playoffs, carrying that team right to the finals and took him to Game 7, and he won the Conn Smythe. So sometimes it works out. If you like the Edmonton Oilers, it won't be Stuart Skinner. It's going to either be Connor McDavid or Leon Draisaitl. And there's just not enough in the market there to get you there. If you think Dallas Stars are going to come back and win this series, then maybe dab a little bit on Jake Ottinger, because I think him more so than Mikko Rantanen. And Mikko Rantanen's been missing in some games, but Jake's been there, and he's played well and consistent throughout the playoffs. He's always been one of the top goalies in the playoffs. It's just this last game where his goals saved above expectancy was a -3 and change, I believe Andrew mentioned on today's Puck Time show.
Wow. Well, Carm, you are a wealth of info for hockey, and anyone that needs to see, go to Puck Time at Wager Talk. It's Carm, it's Andrew McKinnis. They're awesome at what they do, and you guys record pretty early in the day, so you give people a lot of time, no?
Yeah, we record at 11 a.m. Gives everyone enough time. We monitor not only the lines on Odds Logic, which is great for looking at updates on players, whether they're missing or not, and we can see what happens in the morning skates as well too, because that normally happens around 10, 11 o'clock in the morning. So by the time we're done the show and giving out some props, we have more information on not really the starting goalies, because we know who it's going to be for the most part, but players like, let's say, like a Rupe Hintz, who is supposed to be a game time decision tonight, but is very unlikely to play for the Dallas Stars. So 11 a.m. we're up and early, and our fearless producer Dan Alexander, who's on the West Coast, is up even earlier because he's got to put the production.
Dan is working his ass off. He's doing such an awesome job, and so are you guys. Carm, thank you so much for coming on the show, and I'll have you on again soon. Good luck with your bets tonight.
Thanks to you as well.
We've got some trends to look for throughout all sports, including the NBA, but I guess we will start. And just by the way, shout out to Sean Michael in the chat, who is telling me things like Trump pardoning the Chrisley family. It is a great reality show. I doubt it will ever come back. Like, they're going to hide for forever. They're going to be happy to be out, and that's going to be it. But I did love that show, and I am very happy for them if that's the case. Anyway, let's get to the most bet on props of the day. Propaganda. These are the most bet on props according to BetMGM. Earl, it wasn't politics. It's like a reality TV show that they got pardoned. Like, it's not being political. That's it. It's not politics. Anyway, most bet on props according to BetMGM for the Knicks-Pacers game. Everyone's on Jalen Brunson over points. I'm going to tell you why that's a bad bet in a second. Mikal Bridges under 4.5 rebounds. That's way too juiced anyway. And the boards are all going to go to Cat and Mitch Robb. Pascal Siakam first field goal. I don't bet those. All the power to you. Miles McBride over 6.5 points. Tyrese Haliburton over 20.5 points. Now, I have a different way to play that. If you want to not just back like the most bet on props like the public, there's a different way to look at it. These are 3 things that I looked at. I mentioned these this morning on the premium subscription for the propqueen.com newsletter, so you could check that out. The afternoon newsletter for basic subscribers is $8.99, and it goes out right after the show in case you missed anything. But the morning subscribers get all this info before noon Eastern time, so it gives you a little bit of time. Jalen Brunson. He had a lot of success against the Pacers this year. Dating back to even last season, Brunson's averaged just over 30 points a game through 16 games against Indiana, including the playoffs last year. However, in the games at Indiana since the beginning of last year, Jalen Brunson is averaging just under 24 points a game. A 30.5 points prop or a 29.5 points prop. It's too high. Too high. So I would say to stay away from Jalen Brunson over points as long as he's not at Madison Square Garden. Now, what does go up on the road is Jalen Brunson's assists. Jalen Brunson's assists, it went up from 5.5 to 6.5 with juice to the over. And I meant like the prop itself has gone up with juice to the over. So Brunson's only had 5, 11, and 1 assist in this series. I know there's an 11 in there. That was at MSG. But like the fact he had 1 assist and yet his props up to 6.5 on the road. Brunson's averaging about 6 assists per game against Indiana dating back to last year. At home, he's averaging just about 4.5 assists per game. So he really does go up in the assists. Now, I know a lot of people think that Karl-Anthony Towns is the big play tonight. I'm staying away because I've heard too many people like it. I know he's crushed the Pacers. I know that someone between Brunson and Cat has to go off for the Knicks to win this game tonight. I would go Brunson assists instead of points. Joseph Rodriguez says, I think Brunson drops a 40-piece lemon pepper off flats. Maybe at the Garden. I just can't. I don't hate, like, I'm not going to tell you that you're a bad gambler for betting over on Brunson points against Indiana. Donovan Mitchell destroyed Indiana all series when the Cavs played them. That's fine. But I'm just going to stay away from Brunson points. I think that the number is indicating that the book likes the assists more. Again, when you only went over 5.5 assists one time this series and your prop goes up to 6.5 with juice to the over, the book's telling us something. Now, as for Tyrese Haliburton, his assist prop scares me tonight because it's only 8.5. We are talking about a point guard that has put up 10-plus assists in like every game this year. It's obviously an exaggeration, but Haliburton is an assist machine. Point guards have done really well dishing the ball out against the Knicks, especially with the Knicks road D. So why is Haliburton's prop only 8.5? Now, that's fishy to me, which is why I like his points plus assists at 30.5. The Knicks have struggled the most against the point guard position, especially when they're on the road. Cade Cunningham, Jaylen Brown, they've all had success on their home courts going over this number. 30.5, just put up 20 and 7 in game 3. I would look to Haliburton over points and assists. Like, he just had 27. So if it's up to 30.5 and the book hasn't come down on the number, I think one saves the other in some capacity. But either way, that's the way I would play Tyrese Haliburton tonight. I have to add some more things, but I do have some Major League Baseball action to get to. I think that's all I have on the NBA for tonight. I'm just going to add some graphics right now for Major League Baseball because we do have some matchups to watch for batters. We have some fishy lines to share. Royal logs. I think that's everything for baseball. Okay. Let's get to fishy line. Fishy line number 1 of the day. Toronto Blue Jays, money line. This line moved a good amount against Texas overnight. And everyone's going to think I am crazy, but I am not because the numbers back it up. If you don't know, now you know. Nathan Eovaldi has sucked against the Toronto Blue Jays. In his last 6 starts against Toronto, Eovaldi's 0-2 with a 9.33 ERA. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is hitting .435 against him. Bo Bichette hits .320 against him, and Alejandro Kirk 6 for 10. The Rangers' bats have been atrocious. They're averaging 2.5 runs a game, losing 7 of their last 8 with a 190 batting average. Their bullpens are about even. So, that's the first fishy line of the day. Do not bet the Rangers. Look at that number, minus 146 for Nathan Eovaldi, who's pitching like a Cy Young candidate against one of the pitchers allowing the most home runs of like this year for Toronto. I mean, he's like tied, I think, for Bowden Francis is tied with Jameson Taillon for allowing, I think, the second most home runs this season. But yet the lines moved that much in his favor against Eovaldi. Eovaldi has bad numbers against Toronto. The other fishy line of the day. Nate knows. They are. The Miami Marlins. This one also makes sense. So the line moved 10 cents against the Padres. Heavy money, heavy bets on the Padres. The right-hander for the Padres is Steven Kolek. It's his first time in the starting rotation on 4 days rest. The Padres bats, also a problem. Since May 16th, San Diego is last in Major League Baseball, averaging just over 2 runs a game. Fernando Tatis Jr., Xander Bogaerts, Jake Cronenworth, they have all, in the last 7 games, had a batting average of 150 or lower. I saw the line move today and knew it. Marlins would win today after I had them yesterday. See? There you go. So, Marlins. That's the way that I would look at it. Pesky says, I like Strider bounce back big game versus Phillies. So in case you don't know about Spencer Strider and his regular season history against the Phillies, he's 8-0 with a 2.06 ERA in 9 career regular season games, 8 starts against the Phillies. The playoffs, bad. Like, it's a complete difference. But we don't need to talk about it. It's not the playoffs. But Strider does have bad numbers against the Phillies in the playoffs, but very good in the regular season. You're also asking about McGill over 5.5 Ks today. I'll tell you why I don't like it, because I didn't bet it. I didn't mention it in the newsletter either. Let me find McGill. It's high, 6.5. The White Sox don't strike out a lot this year. The White Sox are averaging, 25 unders and 13 overs against the White Sox this season. You can find that on the Strikeout prop spreadsheet, the baseball prop spreadsheet on the propqueen.com. If you subscribe to the newsletter as a premium subscriber, $18.99 a month, you're able to see the Strikeout prop spreadsheet, which tells you that the Chicago White Sox do not strike out a lot. I'll even pull up the spreadsheet right now just to tell you, because that 6.5 number is really high against the low K rate team. 6.5. So McGill's a righty. We've seen in the last 10 games, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 2 of the last 10 righties to face the White Sox have gone over 6.5 or 5. You're talking 5.5. I'm saying 6.5 because that's what I saw today. So that's dropping too, but same thing. 2 of the last 10 have gone over 5.5 against the White Sox. And McGill's props clearly dropping because this morning it was 6.5 with minus 164 to the under. So I would completely stay away with Tyler McGill tonight against the Chicago White Sox. Here are some strikeout props that I would bet on tonight. Joe Ryan under 6.5 strikeouts. I would only take the under 6.5. I did see it drop to 5.5, but this was in the premium subscription on the propqueen.com, where you could have seen this for -140 if you were willing to lay the juice. Out of Ryan's 10 starts, he has faced 2 other low K rate lineups. Ryan had 5 strikeouts against St. Louis, 4 against Kansas City. Both of those starts were on the road, like he is tonight. There's been 21 unders and 14 overs against Tampa this year, with the Rays averaging just over 4 strikeouts a game against righty starters. In fact, 9 of the last 10 righties to face the Rays have gone under 6.5 Ks. On the other side of that game, we've got the Rays righty, Taj Bradley. I would take his under 5.5 strikeouts tonight. He's made 10 starts. It's a small sample size, but he's only faced 1 low K rate team. That was against the Royals, where Bradley punched out 2 Royals in 7 innings. That was at home. 30 unders, 13 overs against the Twins this year. Averaging 4 strikeouts a game for righty starters. 13 overs, 30 unders. That is a ton of unders because the Twins struck out a lot last year relative to this season. It's like a strikeout less per game. 9 of the last 10 righty starters to face Minnesota went under 5.5 Ks, so I would bet Bradley under 5.5 Ks. As for late night, I'm iffy on this one, but if you do want a plus money play and you're up late and you want to watch this game, Yankees lefty Carlos Rodon is pitching against the Angels. It's plus 115, plus 120 range. Rodon's gone over it in 4 of 6 starts against lineups with high strikeout rates against lefties. 2 of those 3 were on the road. Lefties, 6 of the 8 to face the Angels have gone over their strikeout prop, averaging just under 6 strikeouts a game. Ryan Yarbrough had 7 strikeouts against the Angels. Andrew Heaney, Patrick Corbin all had 6 to 8 strikeouts against the Angels. Not to mention Cy Young winner Tarek Skubal had 8 strikeouts against the Angels. So all these lefties have had success against LA. And Carlos Rodon has had a very good season. And he's also a lefty. And apparently on the road, 2 of 3 went over against high K rate teams. So I'm cool with it. If you want a good value play there at plus 115 for Rodon. He just always scares me. I'm a Yankees fan. And I've been scared of Rodon since even before he was a Yankee. Some matchups to watch tonight in baseball. So here are some overs you could take a look at. These are good matchups for these batters. Jarren Duran up against Savale. He's hitting 500. Small sample size. Chris Taylor, another small sample size, but 2 doubles and a homer against Rodon. Vladdy Guerrero, I mentioned it before. Great numbers against Nathan Eovaldi. He's hitting 435 with 2 doubles and a homer. Alejandro Kirk, small sample size, but still 2 doubles. Big boy. 2 doubles against Eovaldi. Austin Riley hitting 320 with 3 doubles, 2 homers against Ranger Suarez. Phillies first baseman, Bryce Harper, hitting 300 with 2 homers against Spencer Strider. Brandon Marsh also hitting well against Spencer Strider, 353 with a double and 2 homers. Paul Goldschmidt, he should play tonight. I think he was out of the lineup last night for the Yankees, hitting 333 with a double against Tyler Anderson. And also Juan Soto, which I left off this list, but he is in the propqueen.com newsletter. If you subscribe, you'll see it at 6:02. Where is it? Juan Soto against Jonathan Cannon tonight. So I don't know if you remember this. If you're a Yankees fan, you might. Juan Soto had a 3 home run game, which was a career high for him last August. 2 of those home runs were against Jonathan Cannon of the White Sox. So I'm just saying that that's a good history too. Kirk total bases today is 1.5, which is high for fat catcher. I'm not calling people fat. That's not nice. He's a catcher. He's a little bigger, but he's 6 for 10. So who cares? Power and size. Unders. Jorge Soler's bad numbers against Carlos Rodon with 9 strikeouts. That's good for the over. Phillies catcher, JT Realmuto. It looks like CJ, but it's the C for catcher. Phillies catcher, JT Realmuto, hitting 136 with a double, but 12 strikeouts against Spencer Strider. Kyle Schwarber, a double and a homer, but 14 strikeouts against Spencer Strider. And Trey Turner, also struggling against Spencer Strider. 3 for 23 with a double, a home run, and 2 strikeouts. Spencer Strider is just always such a high number. And the reason that I didn't bet Strider over his strikeout prop was solely because it's always very high. And the Phillies have been extremely fluky this year when it comes to strikeout props. Like, I cannot trust the Philadelphia Phillies. I keep losing on their strikeout prop. I think I'm going to look right now. I might be about even. I might have fought back from below 500 on Philly strikeout props. 1 and 2. 1 and 2 on them. They're really hard to read because technically the Phillies are averaging just over 4 strikeouts a game when facing righty starters. They're averaging just under 6 strikeouts a game against lefty starters, but they have a low K rate, and every time I seem to bet them, like, okay, if you look at just Höglund, we're not going to count because he doesn't count. But if you look at, like, Germán Marquez had 5 strikeouts against the Phillies. 5. Like, Germán Marquez's strikeout props 2, 3.5. How does he get 5? It was in that game at 2.5, 3.5 for Marquez. He had 5 strikeouts, but yet Paul Skeens can have 9. So I don't bet the Phillies strikeout props. Sorry, that's just a no for me. Sean Michael Ariel, you should do a contest of bets 1 for 30 days. Winner gets a date. No. Okay, we're just gonna rely on winners here. We got best bets of the day. It is our Royal Lux. I'm going back to my favorite strikeout props of the day. Joe Ryan under 6.5 strikeouts tonight is one of my favorite props. I gave this out this morning on the PropQueen.com newsletter. So if you can't get under 6.5 anymore, I'm sorry. But this has dropped 5.5 in some spots. Out of Ryan's 10 starts, he's faced 2 other low K rate teams, had 5 against St. Louis, 4 against Kansas City. All those were on the road. Righty starters, 14 overs and 21 unders when facing Tampa Bay, averaging just over 4 strikeouts a game. 9 of the last 10 have gone under 6.5 strikeouts when facing the Rays. On the other side of the game is Taj Bradley, who's pitching for the Rays. I also like his under 5.5 strikeouts. He's gone under in the one game he had against the low K rate team. That was the Royals. He stayed in that game 7 innings and only had 2 strikeouts. That game was at home too. There have been 30 unders out of the 43 righty starters that the Twins have seen this year. 30 of those 43 have gone under their strikeout prop, averaging 4 strikeouts a game. Another one, 9 of the last 10 have gone under 5.5 against Minnesota. I'm going to take the under on both these pitchers who are going head and head. I'm taking the under on both these pitchers who are going head to head tonight in Tampa Bay. That's it for me, the Prop Queen. Ariel Epstein here on this Tuesday edition of the Prop Queen Pod. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube page at Prop Queen Sports. Make sure to like and do all those things to help with our ratings and stuff. Also, the PropQueen.com newsletter. If you're a premium subscriber for $18.99 a month, you can get those premium subscriber newsletters where early in the morning you will get all of pretty much what I said on this show today. And you get it early, and then I say it for you on the show. And then if you missed anything I said on the show, you get the basic newsletter for $8.99 if you want it. Premium gets both. Premium gets this morning and the afternoon for $18.99. Basic subscribers only get for $8.99 the afternoon newsletter, which just dropped right now, so you can get everything I talked about on the show today. Good luck to all your bets, everybody, and I will see you guys. No bar tonight. I am sitting on my couch. I'm going to watch the Knicks-Pacers game soberly. Knicks choke. Is it really a choke anymore? No, it's just a disappointment. I'm going to try to make sure I don't get more sunburnt. I'm probably going to get some sushi tonight because I'm too lazy to cook. And I will see you guys tomorrow, 5 to 6 p.m. Eastern time, right here on the Prop Queen Pod.